everyone, this is Michelle Phillip from Soul 3. Soul 3 is back after a break of 4 months, and we are in a beautiful place called Saguna Bagh in Neral. It's a little piece of heaven, far from the madding crowds in noble strife. I have with me a wonderful person whose family I have known for the last 22 years. And today we are going to have Chandan Badsavle in conversation with me, Michelle Phillip, for Soul 3's episode 6, season 3.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Chandan, I'm so happy that you consented to be on my podcast. I know how busy your schedule is, and
No. It's all fine. Thank you very much for bringing me here, and it's my honor.
yes. So we've had students coming here for the last 23
Yes.
years almost.
Yes.
And I've had the pleasure of meeting not only your father but your grandfather as well.
True, yes.
And our season 3 is focused on living legends.
Yes.
And I know that this beautiful 60-acre farm was the brainchild of your grandfather.
Yes.
And it is through your father,
Yeah.
Shekhar Badsavle, and you, Chandan Badsavle, through whom the legend of your grandfather,
Yes.
Hariba Badsavle, continues to live.
That's true.
So in that sense, he is a living legend.
That's true.
So just share with us, tell us about Hari Kaka, as he was fondly called.
Yes.
And he was a freedom fighter.
Yes.
And tell us about him.
So yes. So my family has a really nice, amazing history, and I'm really proud to be part of it. So my grandfather Hari Kaka, he was a freedom fighter, and he left his house at the age of 16. Since then, he started the freedom movement. He participated in the freedom movement, and overall he spent about 6 years of his life in the prison, and he was a Gandhian freedom fighter. The most important work that he did, in Gandhiji's language, it is called Asahkar Chalwal, wherein you try to disturb what Britishers were doing. So that is exactly what he participated in. He had a group of really nice, amazing people from all over, from Nashik, Pune, and Mumbai. They were all a group of about 20-25 people, and what they used to do was, all the biggest power generating center was here in Lonavala. When we go to Pune, you see on the left hand side Tata Powerhouse Station.
Mm-hmm.
That was the biggest hydro power station even from that time, and that used to provide electricity to the ordnance factory here in Ambernath, and most of the water, the cloth mills, the cotton mills
Mm-hmm.
in Mumbai.
Mm-hmm.
So that used to give power to most of the industries. So what he used to do is to cut the pylons, whatever the electricity that used to be carried from Lonavala to Mumbai. So his group used to disturb that electric supply. So his main work was to cut the pylons and to blow off the railway lines that used to carry the materials, not the railway lines that would carry the people, but the railway lines that would carry, jisko mal gadi bolte hain. So that thing he used to blow off the tracks, cut the telephone lines, cut the lines that would, jisko pehle bolte the, what would we call that, the other messaging device,
Morse code.
Yeah, the Morse code.
Yes.
Morse code ka jo lines tha, that was different. So cutting those lines,
Yes.
that was his main work. That is what they used to do. At the end of the freedom movement, in 42, he
Yes.
was awarded death sentence for having explosives. So all these things. So he was really a great thing. It was really nice. And after independence, he never thought that he will survive the freedom movement, but he survived the freedom movement. We got independence, and then there was a big question what to do next.
Okay.
So then he started, he said that the rest of his life, he will spend all of his life in, giving back to the society and doing something for Adivasis, and, doing something for women upliftment. So even today, this year, 2023, Adivasis don't have a really good life, and most of the rural area, if you see the women, there's still lot of less education and atrocities and many things are there. So when after the freedom movement, you can imagine how the scene was. So he started a trust which is on the other side of the river, like we are here, we are in a 60-acre property. And on the other side of the river, there is a place called Kotwalwadi.
Okay.
So Mr. Kotwal was a person who died, who was martyred by the Britishers in the freedom movement. So that's how the Kotwalwadi was started, and he started all these activities over there, which will help women, better life. Teaching them everything like small courses, sewing, and something like that. He started many courses for Adivasis and women.
So how did Saguna Bagh happen?
Yes. So after trying to run Kotwalwadi for 16 years, he thought he should do something for his own life. Many people advised him, you should do something. And he started pre-independence. He once tried with the milk production, dairy, and he was very successful in that. He had 40-50 buffaloes at that time. He loved buffaloes because they would give healthier milk. So he started with the buffaloes over there at that time.
So Saguna Bagh was a dairy farm.
Okay. Initially, and then but then again, because his continuous sentencing and police behind him, he couldn't continue with the business. And then after coming back, after independence, he came back to this land, which he had purchased with some money that he collected with the milk. There was initially when he came, it was 6 acres. And then he went on buying the rest of the land with the milk. So land was not really expensive, that times. I mean, of course, land was not expensive till 2005 in this area. So that time it was pretty cheap. And then he started buying all this land which was close to the river. He thought that so he has 2 sons and 1 daughter. And he thought that his children will come back and will do agriculture over here and do some work which will help the local community grow.
So your dad is Shekhar Badsawale.
My dad is Shekhar Badsawale.
And what about his siblings?
My uncle is Pradeep Badsawale. He is he's now in America. He settled in America pretty well. He was the scientist in NASA. Then he worked for Lockheed Martin as a programmer for the really amazing fighter jets. And so his whole family is there in America.
Okay, so my aunt, go ahead.
Sorry. My aunt is Sandhya Devastale. Okay. She stays in Pune, and she was earlier with her husband in Africa. They had some really nice job there, and then they came back to India. And now my aunt is the one who looks after Kotwalwadi.
Oh, that's interesting. So your dad acquired his doctorate from the USA, but chose to come back to India.
Yes. Yeah. So what happens is that he did his course in food science and technology over there in America.
Okay.
And he was one of the founders, when you must be knowing Pringles.
Yes.
The chips. So he's one of the persons who started that. And but the same time, my grandfather wrote him a big letter saying that you are sent over there to not to enjoy and be there. You see, you learn, and you should come back. Yes. And serve your own country, and serve your own people, and whatever you have seen outside the world, you should come back and you should basically teach our people. And he read that, and that was not the only thing that he wrote. He wrote many more things. So he told him that you should, basically you should take now your own decision. So then he immediately, everything, and then he left the job. He came back. He came back in 76. Okay. In 76 he came back. But you can imagine, even today when you guys come, you can see it takes 3 hours to reach, and there is so many problems even today. You can imagine what the problems were there in 76. So he came back in 76, and since then the actual Saguna Bagh started taking shape, because he did many things to sustain the agriculture. There is no such thing as, even today, sustainable agriculture is still a vague term. It's not really happening.
Recognized.
It's still not really happening anywhere in the world. There is no sustainable agriculture that is really happening. And our main source of income, our main livelihood has always been agriculture. Okay. Even today we are farmers. So we are a farmer family, and people come here to see, how the farming is done. That's agrotourism. So my father is the one who started all these things.
Yes.
He was looking for different ways, and my mother, before marriage,
Yeah.
was working with Hafkin Institute, and my father and my mother have a love marriage. So he used to.
I didn't know this
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
Okay.
So he used to go meet her there in Hafkin Institute.
Okay.
And so somebody in the Hafkin Institute said, "Hey boy, you come from all the way from jungle." So earlier, Kalyan ke aage, everything was jungle.
So true.
Everybody would call that jungle. So somebody said, "You come all the way from a jungle. So why don't you catch snakes and sell us venom? You rather than doing this time pass, you can earn some money out of it." So he took it very seriously. He came back, he started reading all the books, and he found one guy who will teach him how to catch a snake and milk the snake. It's called milking the snake.
Yeah.
So somebody taught him how to milk the snake, and that's how the whole thing started. That's how he started catching the snake, milking the snake. Milking the snake is extracting the venom and keeping
Using it as antidotes.
So extracting ka process that we used to do, because so he would extract it and then he would sell it to Hafkin Institute, and venom is a very expensive commodity, and he started doing that thing basically, and because of that, what happened is many people. So one, we started getting money. Otherwise, what happens is there is no dignity in agriculture. Not even today. Like you can see maximum suicides happening, and the son does not want to come back to agriculture because there is no dignity. That's the main reason. Then at times there is money. Like the bigger farmers will have maybe more chance of earning, but because there is lack of dignity. जैसे अगर if somebody is a farmer, if somebody is on a farm, a girl would never marry him. There are very less chance of girl marrying a farmer
or a farmer's son
or a farmer's son, but maybe that's the most important thing, to extend your family, you need to marry. But if there is an issue there, then there,
Yes.
so the problem is there, and if you want to go for a loan, if you are a farmer, there is 100% chance you don't get a loan. There are many issues of being a farmer, and it's not only here. Sorry.
So your dad was awarded, I think about a decade ago, Farmer of the Year by the Government of India.
Yes, he was awarded Krushi Bhushan earlier.
Okay.
That award is given to three farmers in the state. And then recently, as in few years ago, he was awarded Krushi Ratna. That is, जैसे खेल रत्न वगैरह होता है, the same way Krushi Ratna is there. So it's awarded only for one person, one farmer in all of the state. So that award was recently given.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So the entire purpose of Sagunabad is to bring dignity in farming.
शेतीतून प्रतिष्ठे.
Okay. शेतीतून प्रतिष्ठेकडे.
Yes.
Let me say that again. शेतीतून प्रतिष्ठेकडे. And this has been the tagline and the focus of all your activities in Sagunabad, to bring dignity back into farming.
Yes.
I have seen how the very focus of all your activities has been to bring dignity first to the locals in the surrounding village,
Yes.
to their children by offering them an education, giving them training in Malkam, ensuring that they are well taken care of so that alcoholism has been reduced.
Yes.
The women are also involved in the process.
Yes.
So how did this idea take root? You said in your grandfather's dream.
Yes.
But then how did you decide to start including the people around you, and where did this idea for your dignity in farming come about?
See, the whole thing, the root of this thing is, as I said, my grandfather was a Gandhian freedom fighter. He was extremely, influenced with Gandhiji's thoughts. And one of the Gandhiji's thoughts after independence was Gavakade Chalo. Gav Chalo was one of the very important slogan, because he definitely foreseen the concentration of cities. What is happening is, if you see every day on the CST station, there are thousands of people coming with their bags, and they are getting
Lost in the city.
Lost in the city, and crowding city more and what is happening is that all the talent is going to the cities and from cities outside the country. So basically no youngsters want to stay back. If you see the whole Konkan region that way, you can see, or Kerala for that example, your hometown, there are places, the villages are empty.
There are no young people.
There are no young people. Basically, it's all old people, and so I'm not saying old people is bad or anything, but I'm saying it's not good for the economy of the place, because ultimately, after 20 years, 50 years, there will be nobody, to be. So ultimate objective is to be at the farm, in the villages. That is what he always thought, and not wanted his children to come back to the villages. So being on the village is one thing, but to survive there is a different thing. You just cannot come here and be there. So my father came back maybe because of his father's law, but then I have to come back as well. In the 21st century. So in order that to happen is a complicated thing. So for that to happen, there has to be a dignity. If there is, basically, it is not always that dignity comes with money. It's not always the same case. So for example, if you see right now, we have got almost 180 employees working with us, and you must have seen that they're all young. Most of those are young. Those are young men and young women, and we have got people who are 80 years old also. Who are working with us, and they enjoy. They are here just because they like to have, they enjoy, and what will they do? And money is not our strength. Money is not our strength because we just can't afford that. So we have a basic average salary and stuff, but people still, we have zero staff turnover. If you see the biggest corporates, your students are now managers and owners of the biggest corporations and working there, and the biggest problem they all face is the intelligence, the lack of dedicated staff, because that is the biggest problem. As soon as somebody gets paid 1 lakh rupees more, they want to change. That is happening in the big things, big places where they are getting paid lakhs of rupees and cars and whatnot. But even then they want to change. Here we are not giving them
lakhs of rupees
and no cars and stuff, but they're still willing to stay here, where train station is just 10 minutes away, and there's a lot of industrial area. They can easily get more salaried job anywhere else. So what we have found out is that only money is not important. What they need is dignity also. That means love, basically, right now. So if they, like in many a place, if you see in Keralites don't work. In Rajasthan people don't work. In Maharashtrians don't work. Basically, you must have heard that. Gaon wale kaam nahi karte. So you must have heard that many times. But that's exactly opposite is what is happening here. What we have is all locals from 5-6 kilometer radius, and they are all working amazingly. Our efficiency is maybe 85-86%, which I don't see any other. I have myself done hotel management, and I have worked in 4-5 countries and multiple organizations, and I have never seen organization that is as efficient as this one. And I'm not saying because it's my organization, I'm just saying because as a normal person I'm saying.
I can actually second what you're saying, because successive groups of students have always pointed out how courteous your staff are.
Yes.
And it's almost as if they believe this is their home.
Yes.
It's not a job for them.
Yes.
And there's so much of themselves invested in this space.
Yes, true.
And I've seen some of them grow from young lads, and some of them even recognize me when I come back. And almost as cheerily as you and your family welcome me, as warmly as you welcome me, they too speak to me and they recognize us, and they're very sweet to my students and all of that. So definitely, something that you're doing is different. And we also commented that, it's usually the management that sets the tone for that dignity of labor.
True.
And it is you and your attitude that percolates down to them and the way they work.
True.
So I think that's what it is, because sometimes even without telling them anything, if they see students wandering off to the river, they are there behind them. And then, cautioning them, no, don't go. And it's not a very hostile, generally people who are there to guard you, they are rude to, don't go there, come away. And they say, no, don't go further, it's dangerous.
True.
And, I find that is so refreshing in a place like
True,
this.
true.
You know, so when I first started coming here, it was the dormitories for students. You had a few cottages,
Yes.
and you had the classic pond house.
Yes.
Today we are sitting in this beautiful premium pond house too, and I'm overlooking this beautiful pond which our viewers can't see.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that more of them will come and visit and bring their college students or family members and come and enjoy this little piece of this little space where you have a chance, we get a chance to unwind.
That's right.
And to actually understand all the practices that you have. I think your dad has had that experience. He's gone to Israel and studied their system of agriculture because the climatic conditions are similar there and here.
Yes.
And I think the first time I saw drip irrigation was on your farm.
Yeah.
And more recently, I think you are practicing no-till agriculture.
Yes.
So can you tell us something about that?
Yes, there are many things that we started here first. Basically, when he started, he's the one who started the agrotourism. Basically,
Yes.
he started agrotourism in '85. Then he's the one who started the first experiment of vertical farming. That was in 1994. Was the first experiment. Then he's the one who started with the first. Paddy and prawns culture together in a pond in
the same
field,
pond.
in a
Okay,
field.
in a field.
So
Okay.
paddy field mein you have a little bit of dent, and then you leave prawns over there, and they coexist together because whatever prawns eat the whatever that is growing in this thing, and they release all the good nutrients for the. So that was one of the experiments, very successful one. He is the one who introduced tilapia fish from Israel. Tilapia niloticus is one of the fish. We are the ones who initially, one of the very few people who, yes, as you said, the drip irrigation system.
Yeah.
So many things. So basically, the polyculture in the ponds, having different varieties of fish in the ponds. So all those things. And now what we are doing is what we started is the SRT, Saguna Regenerative Technique, which is zero-till agriculture, which is extremely useful. Right now, about 5,000-6,000 farmers are following him all over Maharashtra and few hundred outside Maharashtra.
So if we want to know more about this no-till agriculture,
Yeah.
I think Shekhar Badsable, your father, has written a book on that.
Yes,
Am I right?
yes.
Can you tell us the title of
He
that
has
book?
not. He has not only written a book on this. There is also a YouTube channel called
Yes.
SRT,
Yes.
Saguna Regenerative Technique. Anybody who wants to see, they can go through it.
Okay.
The book is a very small book, written in a very small and scientific language, which is good for all the farmers. Basically, it's kind of a brochure
Correct.
for the
Correct.
farmers. The book is not really. There's no book. Basically, it's a brochure
Okay.
for the farmers, not for general people
Yeah,
to
it's
go
an
and.
extended brochure kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it's an extended
No,
brochure.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it's an extended brochure.
Yeah.
You can say.
So
It's the name is SRT.
SRT.
SRT is the
That
name of
is
the brochure.
Saguna.
Regenerative Technique.
So it has a YouTube channel as well.
It has a
which
YouTube
we
channel.
Can go and
Yes, and it is all about giving health to the soil, and then whatever you plant on top of it, it's not only for the rice. It's
For
for
all crops.
all the type of crops, and whatever you plant on top of the soil will ultimately require very less
follow. Okay.
everything. So less weedicides, healthier crop, less everything. So it will basically take care of the soil and the environment. Yeah.
So, in this visit, I noticed that there are outlets where you have such interesting products.
Yes.
And I've intentionally put some of them here.
Yes.
The pickles, of course, I won't talk about because that's something that I love, but others should taste and find out for themselves. But I'm very keen to talk about some of these products, this little handbag that's
Yes,
here,
yes.
and I was very excited by this little puzzle set.
Yes.
This toy made entirely out of wood
Yes.
reminds me of the childhood toys that I had.
Yes.
We had a little train which we used to pull and
Yes.
walk along, and this is eco-friendly.
Yes.
And somewhere this seems to bring back the innocence of childhood.
Yes, yes.
So these products, the soaps, the cold press oils, are they all extracted and the oils
Yes.
extracted on the farm, the pickles made here,
Yes.
the soaps, the other products, are they all made over here? Because I remember once buying two beautiful wooden chairs
Yes.
with slats,
Yes.
and I can see some of similar furniture on display at the
Yes.
farm.
Yes.
So, are they all made on the farm?
Yes, they're all made on the farm, and the one that you see about the pickles and everything,
Yes.
we now have 3 shops. Basically, one is in Dadar,
Okay.
one is in Thane, and the other one is in Dombivli, and the fourth one is here on the farm, which is
Farm,
in
yes.
Kerjat Neral.
Yes.
So we have basically four shops now, and this is all happened after the lockdown. So in the lockdown, we had nothing to basically sell to, and we have produced a lot of mangoes, a lot of jackfruits, a lot of everything, but there were no people to eat it or sell it.
Okay.
So what we thought, what to do with it, and then we started. I started selling this. I used my social media
Okay.
and started. I have a truck, so truck mein dal ke I used to go all over around the Mumbai and sell
Okay.
it. But
Okay.
then we saw that not every time we could sell everything, and there was a lot of wastage, and we started processing them. So started making pickles out of it, jams out of it, marmalades out of it, and then we started selling that also as well on social media, and that was going pretty well. We had no e-commerce website, or we had no connection with any big things like Amazon or something like that. So we thought we should just use our own basic free social media and started selling it over there. It was
Okay.
going very well. Then we thought right now is the time we should have our outlet, because slowly we started having 350 products.
Okay.
So now we have about 400 products. So we started having this outlet. We opened this outlet after the this thing, the lockdown, and all the other products also that you see, the wooden products that you see, we have, as I said, we have about 180 employees. They are all skilled in different things. Some of the skills is the carpentry and stuff, which we always need them, carpenters and this thing, for all our maintenance of the houses and everything. So we always had carpenters on our payroll. So because we have carpenters, when in the free time, they always used to make something in the basic other waste wood. They would always make some chairs and stay or whatever, and then that started ultimately we started having them as products. So we also have a lot of wooden products, as you said, and it's all about, the whole concept is all about nostalgia, having going back, and what you used to, and what the next generation will never see. Basically, they will never have a wooden toy maybe. So when they come here, when the parents come here, they should they should really experience all these things.
Yeah. So I think through this, what the message that you're getting across is the sustainable, environmental practices, and getting people to understand responsible living, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is one of the ideas. The most important idea is for us to survive.
Yes.
And to make sure that the employees get paid, and we have
True.
we can live our life. So we need to sell always something.
Yes.
So in Marathi we always talk, jithe pikta tithe vikat nahi. Matlab wherever you are growing, you never sell. You are never able to sell that.
Yes.
जहाँ पे grow हो रहा है वहाँ पे you never sell. So we want to really do the opposite of it, because of the agro-tourism. What we can do is we have all the city folks come to us. So when they go back, generally they want to carry something back. They love to take some memory from here, put it somewhere in their home, and we ultimately want to sell what we have. So what happens is that they get a product which is sourced and made and everything that on the farm, and we get some money in return. So yeah, sustainable is the most important word you can say.
Absolutely. I love the aesthetic of the interiors as well as the exteriors of all your pond houses and everything. But one thing I must mention is the lovely brass bucket and lota in the bathroom. I'm sorry I have to talk about this, but it just has such a rich feel.
Yeah.
You go to a place, it's got such a beautiful setting, and then the toilet is a dead giveaway that no thought has gone into it. So my question to you is, where do you get the ideas for this beautiful background and The roof, I can barely imagine as we are lying in bed and looking at this beautiful pattern. Where do you get these ideas from?
I have a friend who is a really good eco-architect.
Okay.
So he was there helping us.
Okay.
He's the one who got all the ideas, and then we finalized most of the things. But as you can see, these bricks behind us
Yeah.
is made with this is just plain bricks,
Okay.
non-cooked ones. Because
Oh,
if
okay.
when you cook
When you
them,
bake them, huh?
when you bake them, there's a lot of carbon that gets emitted in this thing, and the soil that you use for making those bricks, which are red in color,
Huh.
is the topsoil that is used for agriculture. But what is happening is that there is less money in agriculture, and anyway farmers have very less choice. So what they do is they sell their topsoil, which should not happen actually.
Oh,
Because
okay.
when you sell your topsoil, in order to make the topsoil takes thousands of years. So people just sell it as soil, मिट्टी के दाम में बेच देते हैं.
Okay.
But that is actually the most fertile land, which should not be sold, and that is sold for peanuts, and then they make some 2 peanuts out of it, which is really sad. So this type of this thing is used a compressed method, and not topsoil is used on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So will this be high maintenance in the long run?
No,
or-
it's no
yeah.
maintenance at all.
Oh.
It's no maintenance. Not only that, it is flood resistant. So this place where we are sitting actually is a flood prone area. So in 26th July 2005, this where we are sitting about all till top, everything was.
Oh,
Of
okay.
course, this structure was not there,
Huh.
but all the water was there all the way to the top. So that much flood has never happened. But if that would ever happen, since then we consider this as a flood prone area. But this can sustain 1 month of flood.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Chandan, what was life like growing up on a farm?
It's amazing. The life is amazing.
Okay.
There were so many memories and so many things, especially with my grandfather.
Yes.
He was really a hero. He was really nice. When we were young, we could never imagine his thoughts. He would always go in first class with that one badge, one government card that he received.
Okay.
He was allowed to go in a first class and all over
Okay.
India.
Oh.
But there was no reservation. You are just allowed. So whenever he used to take us to Delhi or someplace just to see, because it was free, I would go with him, tag along with him. There was no seats available, so he would sit close to the toilet. He will just take 2 newspapers.
Okay.
One newspaper he's not going to read, so he will put that under
the floor,
this thing,
yeah.
one for me, one for him. And we will sit close to the toilet, and I never understood why he would do that. Why that was happening. Why would he travel like that? And I was so angry at times. And we all were very weird of the social work that he used to do, because we were very young. Me and my sisters, we have 2 sisters. I especially never knew why he was helping so many people, and so many things maybe wrong of me at that time. But then I now, as I age, I understand the importance. Even today, when we go to the real interiors of Maharashtra, people know me with his surname, with his grandson.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. That is one. And then growing with all the animals, and so much of agriculture, and so much of nice people around, because people here in the rural area are virgin at their heart. At least few years ago they were virgin at their heart. Even today people are really nice. The hospitality that you see here in Sagunabag is the originality. They're not taught hotel management, or not taught how to wear clothes, and not taught how to stand. It's all there in there, just polished a little bit, but that's all there. Also, the hospitality comes from my grandmother, who supported my grandfather, because my grandfather was a fakir, you can say. He had no money ever. He never ever he had. So he was not good at making money ever. But because he was a social worker after independence, he would always come with 20-25 people, unannounced, with no mobile, and my grandmother all alone with nothing to eat at their like basically some rice and some dal, maybe something, because there was no money, and no sugar and no tea or something. And he will always say 15 people are there, and khana bana, they had to have food, typical of kind of. So and she would always with a smiling face serve everybody with whatever we had, and she had really good memories.
Absolute great.
So that hospitality has really gone up. So anybody who comes to Saguna Bagh has never gone hungry. Anybody who comes, you always give them food.
So you went to Europe to do hotel management?
Yes, yes.
You
I
went
was-
the Cordon Bleu or?
No, such thing. I was in a simple college.
Okay, okay.
So I did my initial hotel management diploma here in Mumbai,
Okay.
and then I went for further studies to Switzerland.
Switzerland.
So I wanted to see. I was more inclined towards, because I have always seen less money in the family.
Okay.
So I wanted to do something which will bring in money.
Okay.
So that's why I was more inclined towards the hospitality.
Hospitality
And
side.
the only thing that would bring money to the family would be agrotourism. Otherwise, only agriculture would never sustain the family. And so many people around, so many 180 employees is a huge number. So I was inclined towards hospitality. To do that, I went to Switzerland.
Okay.
And I came back in 2006.
So you and your family too live here. You have a
Yes,
little
yes.
daughter?
I have two little daughters.
Two daughters. Okay.
Yes, I have two
How
daughters.
old are they? And
One is 6, another one is 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they go to a local school here?
They go to a local school. Yes.
Okay.
I want to give them all the local experiences.
Definitely.
Because I firmly believe wherever your schooling happens, you always want to go back to that space, back that place. So if your schooling happened in Kerala, for example, you always have that feeling that I want to go back to Kerala.
Yes.
But if your schooling itself happens somewhere in Mumbai or wherever you are born and you want to do wherever your schooling happens, I think you want to go back to that place.
Yes. So, a comment that your father had made more than a decade ago resonated so much with me during the lockdown. He said the world will reach a stage where people will have money but will not be able to eat unless they befriend a farmer.
Yes.
So let me know your thoughts on this.
No, that's definitely going to happen.
Yes.
I mean, you see so much of fluctuations in the cost, in the prices of dal and the vegetables and everything. So
Oh,
much.
yes.
Dal and rice and wheat is not something, because those prices can be controlled from higher up people.
Okay.
And the prices can be extremely subsidized. I think every price that you see right now, even the rice and wheat and everything, is extremely subsidized. The cost is actually 5 times more. But you cannot really control the cost of vegetables because it is, a small farmer is supplying them, not a group of farmers or everything. So a small farmer is supplying that to the local market and to the semi-local markets. So what happens is that because as soon as the local farmer gets affected by monsoon or some disease or some fluctuations, it will immediately have problems. And again, the number of farmers is reducing so fast in our country is unimaginable. Everybody is talking about war all over the whatever world and the oil prices and all the stupidity, but nobody is talking about the number of farmers in our own country.
Yes.
Because if you talk about our own district or our own taluka, the 50% less farmers are there. So whatever the farmers that were there in 2022, let's say 100 farmers were there, only now 50 farmers remain. So 50% have given up farming as profession. 50% has given up farming as profession or whatever that you can call it, farming as whatever. So the number is so alarming. You can imagine this thing happening for next 10 years. And everybody might have sold their agriculture land here in this taluka to the people who want to make a farmhouse over there, kind of.
Okay.
To the person in a city who's going to buy that land for lakhs of rupees and will never understand how to grow cultivation, or will never cultivate, or will never cultivate and sell it in the market, or will never cultivate and sell it in the market for 50 rupees ever. The only farmer can do it who has got this land via his forefathers, who has not bought the land the current price. Only that farmer can feed the rest of the country and the world. But otherwise, if that, इसको दुष्ट चक्र बोल सकते हैं, this does not happen, it can never really affect. Just like how people in Europe and China have problem now with the aging population. People are not getting married and people are not. It's called Dushta Chakra. This is Dushta Chakra. You cannot reverse it by making whatever subsidies, whatever the amount of money. You cannot reverse it anymore because it's just the mentality of people has changed. The same way agriculture के बारे में mentality change हो रहा है. People don't want to get into agriculture as profession, and it will never go back. Once one generation stops agriculture, the next generations cannot come back to agriculture because that what you can say, that stamina of working or that fondness of working in the field in the open sun or whatever is gone. You just can't get connected to soil again. And that is happening in the huge numbers, and I think everybody should start talking about it.
I think so, because there'll come a stage when we have nobody to grow the food for us, and we need that much more food because our populations are growing exponentially the world over. Absolutely. If there's one message you have for our listeners, what would it be?
I would say that there is a lot of potential in a rural area, and rural areas is a virgin ground for. If you want to become a billionaire and millionaire, I think it's a good place to be in a rural area. We can only talk in terms of money, you can say right now.
Yes.
So I would say one is there is a good life, healthy life. Yes, there is no hospitals, there is no road, there is maybe a gundagardi and all the issues that you see on the TV. But if you want to do something like my grandfather did something unusual, my father did something unusual than what was happening. So if I am trying to do something unusual that is happening otherwise, so if you do that, there is more chance of you being successful. You can start company, you can do many other businesses related to rural area. Still, rural area affects a lot of our economy, extremely affects our economy. It affects our country as in general. So it has a lot of impact. But there are very few people, young people, who are willing to go back to the rural area and do something over there. So if you do that, it's basically it's a virgin land of opportunities.
Absolutely. Chandan, thank you so much for having spent your time with me talking about the work that you do, and I would really urge my listeners and the viewers now to take some time out and come here and actually experience what happens here. Talking about it is one thing, but actually being here and experiencing it is so different, and it's very fulfilling. Actually. So yes, I wish you and your family all the very best. And you have a YouTube channel as well. So our listeners can follow you on your YouTube channel, which is
Saguna Baug, SAGUNABAUG.
Wonderful. So thank you so much. You've been listening to Michelle Philip in conversation with Chandan Badsavle, and it's been such a pleasure talking to him, listening to the way in which the farm was started, the contribution of his grandfather Haribau Badsavle, his father Shekhar Badsavle, and Chandan himself, but also about the women in the family who have stood strong behind their men and been support to them while all of this work was going on. We've also seen how the women in the farm contribute in a major way, and for that you need to visit the kitchen of Saguna Baug and to see how much they do, and the friendly banter that goes on while the hundreds of chapatis are being made or the bhakris are being prepared. So yes, do make a visit to Saguna Baug at Neral, and check them out on YouTube, and of course there's nothing like coming here. So thank you very much, and it's been a wonderful time talking to Chandan, and
thank you so
God
much.
bless you and all the work that you do, and yes, thank you.
Thank you.